Hello and welcome back to Marky Mark Reviews. Well, here it is. This is my latest, going to be a long-term owner's review, and this is the new Hyundai Ioniq 5 P45 edition. We've been waiting a long time for this car to arrive. It's the first car that I've ever pre-ordered. It's always a bit risky pre-ordering a car, as you never really know what you're going to get and whether the features are all going to be there, what they say. Hyundai did roll back on a few of the features, so some of the things aren't actually ready for this car but will be on subsequent models. This is going to be a very quick overview of the car itself, and over the coming weeks I'll be doing more videos of all its features and gadgets. Pleased to say that this finally has a frunk. There is absolutely no excuse for an EV not to have a frunk, especially when it's a ground up design. This is not as big as it could be because this is a four-wheel drive model, so the front frunk is quite small but big enough to store the cables, which is always good. One of the interesting features along the front are these two cooling flaps that open individually and as needed to help cool the battery. Obviously it doesn't have an engine in the front, but it does help to cool the motor, brakes and also the battery which lies underneath the car. Just to take a look at the design, this is unlike anything out of South Korea before, but I think Hyundai and Kia are really hitting it out of the park at the moment in terms of their car designs. This looks like nothing else on the road, although there definitely are some throwbacks to perhaps a Volkswagen Golf or even an Alfa SZ model from many years ago. This is in fact meant to have shades of Hyundai's first ever export car, the Hyundai Pony, which was a small rear-wheel drive hatchback from 1975, and it's one of the reasons why this particular model has the moniker P45, as it's around 45 years since that came to market. And this view is just highlighting some of the features along the side of the car and creases, and also the flush mounted door handles which open when you get near to the car and you have the fob in your pocket. This fully laden model costs £48,000, so it's still very price competitive compared to, say, for example, a Tesla. And for that you get a 305 brake horsepower motor, so it's plenty fast enough. It's 4.635 metres long, 1.89 metres wide and 1.6 metres high. And because of those dimensions and its ground up EV design, all the batteries under the floor, it has huge interior space. Hyundai make quite a play on the fact that it has a 3-metre wheelbase, so it has a very spacious interior, also with a large boot. Here you can see the under boot area. Unfortunately, it's spoiled slightly by the enlarged motor on this model, so it is slightly restricted. Lesser models have a much bigger underfloor area. This P45 model of the Ioniq 5 comes with a 77 kilowatt hour gross battery with only 72.6 kilowatt hours usable. This is a bit of a shame, as we were expecting a 77 kilowatt hour battery, rather like the latest Kias are going to have. And the quoted range is just 267 miles, which again is a little bit lower than the 300 miles that they touted before it actually came to market. However, with that huge motor and four-wheel drive, as already stated, it has a 305 brake horsepower engine and 600 nanometers of torque. And this is just a close look at the huge 20-inch wheels that are going to put that power down to the road. This EV from Hyundai is also going to be capable of towing an unbraked trailer weighing around 750 kilograms or a centered trailer weighing 1.6 tons, although the tow hitch is an optional extra. One of the more disappointing aspects of the Ioniq 5 is the fact that it weighs 2.1 tons. Hyundai officially say it's 2.175 tons, but on the certificate of conformity that came with the car, the actual tested weight is actually 2.2 tons. Heavy weight always affects efficiency, so that's something I'm going to be keeping an eye on during the review. This is the rear windscreen, which doesn't come with a rear wiper. As they say, aerodynamics will help to clean the windscreen. And this is a quick look of the charging ports, which you can open via the key fob, or as you saw there, by finger press. And this is the car at home that was presently charging via solar energy. I will be covering the charging capability of this Ioniq 5 in future videos, as this car definitely represents the next step in charging ability and technology. It's one of the fastest charging cars available on the UK market today. And this is just a quick look at some of the interior fit and finish. This is definitely a step up from any previous Hyundai or Korean car available up to now. It has a real feeling of luxury, and apart from some of the plastic chrome buttons that the Hyundai still seem to be fond of, this is one of the best interiors I've ever sat in. It's very open, spacey, with plenty of storage areas available. The seats are incredibly comfortable, like armchairs. This is the vegan leather light coloured finish, and these are the so-called anti-gravity or comfort seats, which I'll be showing you in a video at a later date. One of the areas that really attracted me to the design of the Ioniq 5 was the open plan cabin, rather similar to my previous BMW i3, which means you can just walk through the cabin if needed and change seats. And this is the glove compartment, or more accurately a glove drawer, pretty big inside, and that will come in handy, I'm sure. And now we're just going to have a quick look at the rear quarters. Again, very nicely finished in leather, and just to give that hint of luxury, the rear seats are heated, controllable by the passengers themselves via a button on the door handle or by the driver up front. And rather incredibly, for this P45 model, the rear seats are also slidable. You're just having a look at the huge legroom available, and this is where this 3 metre long wheelbase really comes into its own. So rear seat passengers are going to be very comfortable in this car. And this is just a quick look at the manual seat recline lever and the button to control the electric sliding fore and aft. You use the same lever to fold the seats flat, and when you do so, the car offers an incredible 1600 litres of load space with a completely flat floor, and even with the seats up, there are still around 527 litres of luggage capacity, so it's a very practical car. This EV features vehicle to load capability, so you can just plug in something into a socket like that and use. There are 2 USB-A sockets for the rear seat passengers and 2 at the front, surprisingly not USB-C, and apparently that's coming on future models. And this is just trying to show you the central island, which can slide fore and aft. And you can see for the front seat passengers, when you slide it out of the way, you have a huge area at the front, either to move around or for storage. Plenty of storage anyway within this central island with a wireless charging mat. You can see the charging ports there, and an adjustable central armrest with storage as well. Storage is not going to be an issue in this car, and here you can see the central island in its slid furthest back position, so if you have 2 people at the back, still plenty of room. And one of the disappointments for UK models is that they didn't offer the fantastic Vision roof, which is a full-length panoramic roof, which also comes with an internal sun blind, but that's only available in other markets, not the UK, but I'm sure it will come in future model years. But because it doesn't come with the Vision roof, Hyundai have decided to spec British P45 model Ioniq 5s with an incredible solar roof. These provide the equivalent power of around 205 watts, and this is what I call real modern tech, and these are meant to not only help to charge the battery on a sunny day, but also help to top up the 12-volt battery as well. So we're just going to see, as I own the car, whether these come into their own and help the range over a long period of time of use. When I was younger, there was always the promise of having technology like this available on cars, and I have to pinch myself to see that I'm actually driving a car now with this technology. There are some other cars like the Prius that have had solar roofs before, but I think this is quite high tech in how it's used to help top up the battery, so I hope it's worth the weight penalty of having them on top of the car. And just a quick look at the key fob, which is very nicely designed in that it's not too big. This has plenty of buttons and plenty of functions, which I'll be covering in future videos. And how does the Ioniq 5 P45 look at night? Pretty good as well, I have to say. The lights tend to have what's called a pixel motif, which is repeated throughout the car. Gives it a very distinctive look. And this is just a look at the interior lighting. You can see the ambient lighting. You can obviously choose different colours. I've chosen purple at this particular time. And just a closer look at the rear lights. Nicely detailed, very clear, and definitely a feature and motif of the Ioniq 5. So that's a quick look at the rear at night, and now for the front. Obviously a full spread of LED lighting, but what was also surprising are the multiple LED vertical light streaks throughout the front bumper, again giving it a very distinctive front face. And now just a closer look again at the lights, and again when you look closely you can see that little square pixel motif throughout, and just a closer look at the LED ridges within the front bumper. So enough about the overview. Over the next coming weeks and months I'm going to give you some more driving impressions of this incredible car and what it's like to use and live with in real life. At the moment I can say it's one of the quietest cars I've ever driven. It's incredibly refined, but if you like this video please give me a thumbs up, and if you really liked it then please subscribe.